Hello, welcome to Pool Your Resources in Padlet. I'm going to share my screen. Is it sharing? You should be seeing a screen that has our information. This is Pool Your Resources with Padlet. We're checking on screen share. Hang on just a second. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry, I'm showing you on the wrong screen. Okay. I'm trying to get my screen going. Bear with me for a minute. All right, there we go. Yay. Okay, so this is Pool Your Resources with Padlet. My name is Christina Etheridge. I'm a fourth grade teacher at Hillside Academy, and my moderator is Andrea Blankenship, and she is a fifth grade teacher at Watson Technology Center. So we're going to present some things to you about Padlet, how to use it, and some things you can do with it. If you are a Padlet expert, you might, this might not be for you, but there will be some good ideas at the end if you want to stay tuned. But this is kind of a basics how to get started with Padlet. So let me start with Padlet. To get to Padlet, you just go to Padlet.com. Padlet, just so you know, I need to back up a little bit. Padlet is a collaboration platform. March's monthly technology focus in GISD is student collaboration. This tool will help you and your students with collaboration with each other, with other grades, other classes. You can use this with anybody who has a computer. The ISTE standard this webinar aligns with is Creative Communicator. That's where students use communication for a variety of purposes in a variety of methods. They express ideas and generate learning artifacts, and they communicate with a digital platform appropriate to the audience. So like I said, our GISD monthly focus for March is student collaboration. So Padlet.com, when you go, normally you have to log in, and mine is already logged in. You just go to Padlet.com. You'll need to create an account. Accounts are free. You can get they have a premium account that gives you some extra features, like if you use Google Classroom, then over here on the right, then you'll be able to automatically log your Google Classroom, link it to your account, and things like that. But the free one, you'll see it gives you plenty of things to get started with. So once you create an account and you log in, you will see what's called your dashboard. Your dashboard is where you'll see all of the previous Padlets that you've made. You'll see some apps and plugins. You will see all of the things across the top that you can do. And that's pretty much it. So it's kind of like your starting point. So when you are on the dashboard, if you look here, if you go to Padlets, this will show you Padlets you've created. This will show you activity and different things like that. Any attachments, if you've made attachments. These will be your collaborators. I had a couple of students who are working with me the other day. And then these are your settings. So I'm going to stick with the dashboard. I'm just going to show you a Padlet that I made before. This was a reading assessment review, and we were kind of playing on it one day. So as you can see, what it is a Padlet is just, it starts out, it's like a blank board, like a pegboard or a poster board, or whatever you want to call it. It's just a background. And then when your students, or when you create content on here, by clicking the add sign, it gives you options to add a vocal recording, a video, a picture, a document, or you can add any other file that you want people to have access to. And you will have collaborators to where you are all working on it at the same time. And you can have as many collaborators as you want. So you could technically have your whole class working on something all at the same time. And I'm going to show you some things that you can do with Padlet later, some ideas for how to use it in your classroom. So I'm going to go back to my homepage. When you go to make a Padlet for your class, what you would do is you would either click here where it says make a Padlet, or up in the right hand corner where it says make a Padlet. And it's going to start it like that. And it's going to give it some name, like this one's called My Fancy Padlet. And you can change that by clicking on the different tools on the right. If you look, what I am in right now, it's called my settings. So in my settings where I'm modifying things, here's my title. So let's say I want to call this, I'll call it an i3 Padlet, since that's what I'm working on right now. And then description, this is where you can tell what it is that you're doing. So I'm going to give that a title, and you don't have to put anything there if you don't want to, but you can. And then you choose the layout. Layout is going to be how the things are going to appear on the screen. So freeform means when I add things, they're going to kind of show up wherever they show up on the screen. So if you are working with a group of people at the same time, that means that whoever posts first, theirs will show up, and then the next person will layer on top of that, and the next person will layer on top of that, and then you can move them all around the screen. If you select grid, that means everything that shows up on the screen will be posted in rows. So whoever posts first will show up here in the top left-hand corner, and then it'll move down the rows as more and more people post. So whoever posts first, it will eventually end up last. And if you do stream, it's just like stream on any social media setting. Whatever you post first will get moved down as other people post in a row. So I'm going to leave it at grid for now. As you see, you can choose wallpaper depending on what you want your students to have. Since it's afternoon, that looks kind of like a yummy snack. So you can do themes if you have a premium plan. You can give it a symbol if you want to. And then you'll have the posting. Attribution, when you have your students posting, you might want to have that turned on just so that you will know who it is that's posting. If you leave this turned off, it will say anonymous for each post. So if you have a student quiz or an essay or a student quiz or questions answered or things, and you do not want them knowing who's posting, then just leave it off. But if you want to know who's posting, you would turn it on. And then same thing with comments. Do you want your students to comment on each other's posts or not? That's up to you. You can do tags. And then this down here would be the address if somebody was looking for it. So I'm going to click save for my Padlet, and then I'm ready to start posting things. So what I'm going to do now, the plus sign is where all of your tools are. It's at the bottom right hand corner, and it says I can double click anywhere, I can drag files in, I can paste from the clipboard, or click here to post. So I could double click right here, and then my post is going to show up. Now because I chose grid originally, my posts are going to show up in order. So this one will be here, the next one will be here, the next one will be here, and so forth. If I go back to my settings and change it to freeform, whoops, I'm going to keep working, sorry. Keep working, save. It's really good at reminding you what you need to do. I needed to save first, sorry. So now if I double click, it's going to show up wherever I double click. This is freeform. So I'll leave it on freeform for now. So as you can see on my Padlet, now all I have to do is post up it. So if I'm a teacher sharing this with my students, this might be content that I want them to have. This might be a video that I want them to watch. And then I would click on the camera. And then over here, I could go to YouTube or to wherever I have a video posted, and then I could copy paste the link to it, and then it would be posted here for my students to watch. And then I can make another post. And whoops, sorry about that. So I can make another post, and I could do a recording, something I want them to listen to, or I could do a picture. I could take a picture from my webcam, or it's something I could get off the internet, or it might be a document. I want them to answer some questions and things like that, something I've already saved on my computer. Once I've got everything I want on my Padlet to share with my students, I'd click the share button, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. If this is a Padlet and you're wanting all of your students to create the content, then what you would be doing, what you would do is you would assign the Padlet. When they open it up, it'll probably be blank, or maybe you'll have directions posted somewhere on there. And then when the students get on there, they would be posting, and they would be adding the content that you have told them to add to the Padlet. To share a link with your students, if you click the share button, first it's going to tell you about people and privacy. You can make this public. If it's public, then anybody, anywhere can look it up and find it. You can make it secret. That means that only the people with the link can get into it. You can make it password protected, which means if you have the link and a password, you can get into it. Or you can make it private, which means that it's only going to be you. I'm going to keep it at secret. If you notice, if you use Google, I think most of us use Google, it has a lot of the same tools as like Google Forms and Google Docs and things. As far as accessibility, you need to make sure that you check, do you want your collaborators to just read it? Do you want them to write on it? Do you want them to moderate it, or administer, which is only for if you're a contributor? So if I want my students to post, then I want them to write on it. So I'm going to leave it at that. I can add a contributor if I know their email or username. So I could just put their email in there and send it to them, and then they'll be able to contribute if I want. And I'll show you another way you can do that in a minute. It says remake. Do I want them to be able to remake this for their own work? Do I want them to be able to moderate? So these are all choices that you make depending on your purpose. So I'm going to click on Share, Export, and Embed. If you have iPads in your classroom, or your students use their cell phones and things like that, then you can use the QR code for kids to scan, and then they will be able to instantly go here and start collaborating. So as you can see as a teacher, if this is an assignment you want like as an exit ticket or something like that, it's very fast. You pull it up and you type in your directions, they scan the code, they answer the question. It's very quick. If this is something, if you have Google Classroom, or you have a blog, or you have a website where you post links, then you can click copy link to this Padlet. It'll copy it to your clipboard, and then you can go to that and you can go ahead and copy paste the link, and your students can click the link to get started. You can embed it on your blog and website, you can email it, and then there's all kinds of things. If you've made a Padlet to share, if your students have made one to share and you want to keep it for others to see outside of Padlet, you can save it as an image, a PDF, and other things, or you can go ahead and print it like a poster. So there's all kinds of options for sharing and creating and all of that kind of thing. Are there any questions I need to answer real quick? Okay, so with all that being said, Padlet is just really easy to use. I'm going to show you a couple of places that you can go that will give you some ideas for how to use this in the classroom. If you're familiar with Ditch That Textbook, if you go to the Ditch That Textbook content part, he's got this 101 practical ways to ditch that textbook. If you get on his website, he'll share this with you. And 25, 26, and 27 are all about Padlet. There's some really neat ideas about if you are taking a a trip, a field trip or something like that, you can add pictures onto this Padlet wall. You could share it with parents, and then they'll be able to see updates throughout the day of photos. I mean, this has lots of potential, especially for students or taking pictures. They have a place they could post them so their parents could see them. At the beginning of the year, you can make an introductory Padlet showing things about themselves. You could create a living web quest with Padlets. So adding your own links and questions and things like that, you know, there's all kinds of potential for student projects and sharing and collaborating. I mean, the list, there's millions of ways. As a matter of fact, so this is the Ditch That Textbook site. If you go to this place, I found this. It's called the coolcatteacher.com blog. Her name is Vicki Davis. She has a blog, and one of her posts was how to use Padlet, a fantastic tool for teaching. There are, I'm going to scroll a little bit. There are like a million ways on here that you can use Padlet. She starts out with telling you a little bit about Padlet as a tool and different things that you can use within it. And then these are things that you can do. I've already showed you that you can type, record your voice, add a hyperlink, add a photo, add a document. And then if you go down, it gives you kind of an overview of Padlet. So this is a really good place to come after you listen to the the webinar, I couldn't think of the word, webinar that I'm doing right now. If you are a visual learner, this is a great place to come so you can see again what all of the tools mean. And then if you go down and you scroll down a little bit, she has all of these ways that you can use Padlet in the classroom, starting out with younger classes as portfolios, using it as a blog and things like that. And then there's even more resources as you go. So if you keep going down, this is a Padlet about Padlet, telling you different ways that different people have used this in their own classrooms. So you see that there are, I mean, you can just go down, there's a million different ways. And then you keep going, and she has different ideas on here. One of the things that were on here that I noticed, if you're an ELA teacher, as I am, that you could use Padlet as like a book review spot. Every kid could get on there and share about their latest favorite books. They could post a picture, they could post some text about the book and who would like it. They could do voice recordings about what they could do with it. And then these resources, again, these are on the coolcatteacher.com. She has even more links on here from Richard Byrne, from Tom Barrett, from Wikispaces, and then from Matt Miller, again, the 20 useful ways. So this blog is, I mean, if you just want a place to get started, it probably has more information than you need. I suggest just get on there. I got on there with one of my classes a couple months ago, and we were trying it out, and I just gave them a topic, and I showed them the basics on how to use it, and we just kind of played with it to see what they could come up with, and they were in love, because you can do all of these things in a post. You can add a picture and add a video and add your vocal recording and add a document. The potential for the things that you can use this for are just endless. And that's really it about Padlet as far as the basics on getting started and the tools. I'm going to put this back up here in case some of you want to copy down this web address as a place to go. And then if y'all have any questions, I can answer, well, Andre and I can answer questions for you for the next couple of minutes. Okay. So we'll wait for a couple minutes if you have any questions. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I showed you the dashboard and how they share and collaborate. This is also great if you want to share and collaborate. I mean, as far as just as a person, you could use this if you've got your own kids and things. They're so easy to share. You could, you know, make a Padlet of your own pictures and things and share the link with family members. It's just another place where you can store stuff and send stuff and save stuff and ask people to add on to stuff. You could use it, you know, with other faculty members as a place where you could store ideas for future lessons and things. Like I said, the possibilities are endless. No questions? We're going to wait for about 1 more minute for questions. So if you have any questions at all, it's pretty self-explanatory though. Click on the, I highly recommend, click on the buttons, find out what they do, make a few Padlets yourself, try sharing them with your classes and see what the potential is. Did you put the link thing? Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the link up for you for the to get credit for CPE hours. Andre's posting it right now. If you click on the link, it'll take you to a form, a Google form that you'll fill in just with your name and things, and then you will get a 30-minute CPE credit for watching this webinar.
Could you share Padlet in the Google Classroom? Like once one is complete, could you share the whole
yeah, let me show you real quick. I have Google Classroom. Let me pull up my classroom real quick. So let me pull up my, yeah, this is one of my homerooms. So let's say I'm creating something as an assignment. What I would do with Padlet is I would share, and you know, I'd make sure I have it set so that my students can get in there. So I'm going to share the link. It's copied onto my clipboard. I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom, and it's got the link down here. I'm just going to paste the link in. And so now my Padlet link is there. So I'm going to call it my test Padlet, and I'll assign it. It's going to take a minute, apparently. Sorry. There it goes. Well, let me refresh. Hopefully it shows up. It should show up. There it is. Okay, so now my students can open the assignment, and there it is. So let me show you again. All I did was I created the assignment over here, and here it is. So when they click on it, they're automatically there. So there's no extra steps. If you have Google Classroom, Padlet is probably one of the easiest things to assign and have them use quickly, especially again, like for exit tickets and things like that. And I just went to share and then share, export, embed, and I picked copy link. And that was all. We're going to answer a couple other questions if there are any. There aren't any. Anything else? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining our webinar over Padlet. If you have any questions, I'll go back here. Again, my name is Christina Etheridge and Andrea Blankenship, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Feel free to email anytime. Have a great rest of your week.